Think we're ready to get started? The first bill is from our very own Delegate McCaskill, House Bill 1286.
Absolutely. Don't want to waste your time, Mr. Chair. We want you to get to your birthday celebrations. I'm sure they have all set up for you. Absolutely not. It'll be just me. I know how this committee rolls. For the record, I am Alethea McCaskill, here to ask for your favorable consideration for House Bill 1286. It is the exact same language as the cross-file Bill 787, Senator Shelley Hettleman. I submitted this cross-file on behalf of she. So for those of you who may not be familiar with this bill, it establishes a pilot for benefits cliff within the Department of Human Services. I do know that there has been lots of talk surrounding this for the interim with the Comptroller's Office and the Department of Human Services, especially around the fiscal note, to see how we can work around that. But basically, the benefits of for the cliff effect, we have folks who are receiving benefits here in the state of Maryland, and once they reach the threshold of, income threshold, once they reach it, they literally lose their benefits. So that's the cliff effect. Just wanted to give you a nice visual. This bill is supported by the Maryland Food Resilience Council, the Maryland Hunger Solutions, United Way of Kent County, and the National Capital Area of United Way. I'm not sure if Senator Hettleman's office sent over all the great testimony. I hope you all do have it, but I did have, and hope is not redundant, but I did have my staff to send it to you all as well. The goal of this program is to test a new innovative way. It's modeled after the Massachusetts model that's in effect now, and it's to test the Maryland Earned Income Credit, the EITC, to ensure a family is no worse off because of public benefits. It uses the Maryland EITC adjustment incentives to enable upward economic mobility and career advancement. Enrollees in the program will receive the Maryland EITC adjustment that will reward work and remove the cliff gap each year for the program without jeopardizing other benefits. The pilot is consistent with the state goals of the 2022 DHS 2-Gen Commission report, which you all also should have. I hope they sent it to the committee. In summary, I know you like this part. It saves tax dollars. The state experiences an immediate revenue surplus of 60% per family, and that's also going to be based on the size of the family and their current benefits that they're receiving. The participants transition off public benefits and become taxpayers. The pilot program will require one-time investment by the state for each year of the pilot to administer and evaluate the program. And finally, it helps move participants into the workforce, helping to resolve hiring shortages here in the state of Maryland. I'll now take any questions.
Great job with the bill, Delegate. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have Delegate Schmidt and Holmes here, I see, House Bill 1252.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members, glorious members of the House Appropriations Committee, and happy birthday, Chair. I bring a great bill before you, House Bill 1252, with a $0 fiscal note. This bill expands the purpose of the Volunteer Company Assistance Fund, also known as VCAF, to include ensuring adequate emergency medical services in the state, and authorizes uses for a loan or grant from the fund as specified. The bill also alters the annual reporting requirements to the fund. Pretty simple. I ask for a favorable report. Any questions?
Holmes, do you want to add?
I am just simply here as chair of the Fire and Emergency Medical Services Coalition, and to bring some aesthetic value as I can to the testimony.
Doing a great job with that.
This bill was not cross-filed. It was a day late. I know, probably get that question. We're waiting on some language from emergency and the BPW. So just one day late, which is why we're here. We came out of rules and present this bill before you.
Great. Thank you for bringing the bill. Any questions? Okay. Don't see any.
Thank you so much. Happy
Thank you.
birthday.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Oh, Delegate
Thank you.
McComas, you have a-
McComas?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a real quick question. Do you know what percentage of volunteer firefighters or companies we have in the state versus professional? Just a percentage ballpark?
I do not know off of the top of my head, but I will get that answer to you.
Okay. Well,
And there's been some problems in getting volunteers into the companies as of late. And we've been trying to make some movements to get additional persons interested in volunteering like they used to.
well, I just know for Harford County, we have a lot of volunteers and we want to keep them happy and they're important. And I just kind of was wondering, what the percentages were.
We'll get that information
Yeah.
to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a good bill.
Thank you.
It's an important question. So is it true, what Delegate Holmes was saying about making this panel better looking? I don't know if that's true or not.
That was my job, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. That's right.
Anna Sierra here testifies as well. Come on up.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Anna Sierra. I'm the Chief Development Officer and Chief Legislative Officer for the Maryland Department of Emergency Management. I'm here favorable with amendments for House Bill 1252. We've already spoken to the sponsor about these amendments. It's a technical amendment requesting the replacement of the Maryland Military Department with the Emergency Management Department. When Emergency Management was created as a cabinet-level department, this was a piece of statute that just didn't get updated with the rest of it. So VCAF lives at MDEM. We administer the program. We're happy to continue to do so, but we need a small statutory fix in order to continue to do that. We are working under an interagency agreement with Maryland Military Department currently. This statute will help us move forward in the future. Thank you.
Includes Senate Bill 561. Do we have somebody here from, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Betsy Hickson, here on behalf of Senator Guzzoni to present Senate Bill 561, Goodwill Industries of Chesapeake, Excel Center in Baltimore City, alterations, which passed the Senate unanimously. Last year, the legislature appropriated funds in the amount of $500,000 for each fiscal year 2024 and 2025 to Goodwill Industries of Chesapeake for the purpose of building an Excel adult education program in Baltimore City. This bill just clarifies that the funds are intended for the Goodwill Industries of Chesapeake and the Excel Center that is being created in Baltimore City. Goodwill Industries has developed an Excel adult education program to offer services and opportunities that prepare its students for careers in middle-skill industry sectors that pay a family-sustaining wage. The Excel Center serves a diverse population with students of all races, gender, and ages with a desire to continue their education, earn their high school diploma, and secure a career. Through a blend of traditional high school course requirements, students earn credentials that increase access to higher education, employment with higher wages, and increased career prospects. The program offers individuals workplace training that includes effective communication, problem solving, resume building, and interviewing to assist them with obtaining and retaining employment. The Excel program also addresses critical non-academic barriers to employment opportunity, such as transportation, childcare, reliable housing, mental and physical health. Similar programs have experienced 10 years of success in states such as Indiana, Texas, Tennessee, Missouri, and DC, and now want to bring the same results here to Maryland. Senate Bill 561 will allow Goodwill Industries of Chesapeake to continue their good work in getting the Baltimore City Excel Center up and running to provide access to quality remedial education, apprenticeships, and employer-needed skills and jobs to individuals who have faced educational challenges. Thank you, and I ask for a favorable report of Senate Bill 561.
Thank you. Thanks for your testimony. Any questions from the committee? All right, that concludes the bill hearing, but I think you have the next bill, 562.
Yes. The next bill that I'm presenting is Senate Bill 562, Maryland Small Food Banks Grant Program Establishment, which passed the Senate unanimously. Senate Bill 562 would establish a grant program for small food banks in the state, many of which are struggling to meet the needs of residents. This grant program will allow small food banks to no longer fully rely on line item requests or on larger food banks to help them with operations. Senate Bill 562 will annually appropriate $3 million to this program. This bill was amended so that small food banks can only use the grants for operations as Senator Guzzoni had intended. Thank you, and we ask for a favorable report on Senate Bill 562.
Great, thank you very much. Any
Thank you.
questions? All right, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Have a great day. That concludes the bill hearing on Senate Bill 562. Did I see Senator Jackson here? Senator, come on up. Senate Bill 641.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do you have anybody with you on this bill? If so, they can come on up. Yes, sir. Welcome.
641, I do have. How are you, sir? Thank you. Before I get started, happy birthday, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
I hope that that wasn't. I'll ask for the favor at the end. So.
No, I don't know.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, members of the House Appropriations Committee. Senator Michael Jackson representing District 27 on behalf of Senate Bill 641 and also in my capacity as the Senate Pensions Chair. This bill is pretty straightforward and simply allows employees of the Bowie City Police Department who were hired between January 1st, 2007 and December 31st, 2015 to transfer and/or purchase their previous years of service credit from their time in another state agency, state police department. This bill passed unanimously through the subcommittee, through B&T, and through the Senate. The legislation would create a 6-month window to transfer and/or purchase service credits. The necessity of this legislation comes from some inaccurate information that these individuals received during their onboarding during that period of time. And Mr. Chairman, as this committee is well aware, as I served here, that we have addressed matters to make folks whole in the past when inadvertent information was given to them or inaccurate information was given to them. We feel this is a technical fix, and we're asking for a favorable report of this bill, and I do have someone here to testify. Officer Shiflett.
Hi, good morning. My name is Ryan Shiflett. I've been employed by City of Bowie Police Department since 2007. I came from Baltimore City Police Department prior to that. When we originally got hired, myself and several of my colleagues, we were told we had to purchase our service time on the back end. One of our members is now up for retirement. He went to LEOPS and was told that he was supposed to do it on the front half. We contacted LEOPS to find out what we had to do. She said we had to put the bill in. Now we're here. I'm hoping for a favorable vote also. Thank you.
Good testimony.
We will stand for questions.
Any questions? All right, we'll get the bill moving as quick as we can, okay? Officer, thanks for being with us. Good to see you, Senator. We have somebody here from Senator Feldman's office? Anybody here from Senator Feldman's office? Come on up. Senate Bill 239.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
Mr. Vice Chair, members
We
of the
should just all do
Appropriations-
one happy birthday.
Yeah, I know. Should we all just do it? Everyone's going to
all
say
once.
it.
No, no.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
All right, well, thank you. It's a lesson. Watch what you ask for in life. You know, you might just get it. So, anyway, welcome. We have a witness here. Go ahead.
All right, now that we've gotten that out of the way, most importantly, I'm sorry Senator Feldman couldn't be here. As you know, the Senate was still on the floor up until about 10 minutes ago. But if he does pop in, I think he'd love to talk about this bill. As you know, Senator Feldman, as well as Chair Penny-Melnick and many members of this body have been working for many years to try to curb our very, moderate high rates of people who are uninsured in Maryland, and it's come up with a lot of creative ideas and solutions. And so Senate Bill 239 is a very narrow bill that's determined to do just that. So right now in Maryland, in our state employee benefit division through health insurance, we do not provide benefits toward those who are enrolled in domestic partnerships. In Maryland, I believe it was 2013 or 2014, this body passed legislation to establish domestic partnerships. So it's been existing in law for quite some time. In the Health General article, there are some requirements that you have to meet to be able to apply for a domestic partnership and be legally recognized in a domestic partnership, but there aren't too many benefits that come along with that, and we've actually seen some trends across the country in which more states are becoming open to this idea of a domestic partnership. I think there's kind of been assumptions that domestic partnerships are just for same-sex relationships, but actually in Maryland, they're open to anyone who meets the requirements. You don't have to be in a same-sex partnership. And so basically what the bill does is, in a nutshell, is, as I said, right now in the State Employee Division for Health Insurance, we do not provide benefits to those who are in legally recognized domestic partnerships in Maryland. So all Senate Bill 239 does is says that within the Department of Budget Management in the State Health Insurance Division, we provide those benefits to domestic partnerships. I'm just here to kind of be a face to this story. I work for Senator Feldman, but I actually brought this bill idea to him because in December, I turned that age that everyone dreads, every young person dreads in Maryland, 26. I was forced off my health insurance, had to get my own. Fortunately, my dad is actually a state employee, and obviously I'm a state employee, so I kept the exact same health insurance plan that I have and just switched to the one. I just pretty much got a new member ID, and everything stayed the same. But not so fortunate for many young people in Maryland, including my long-term boyfriend. A lot of us don't have access to these comprehensive, wonderful health plans that we do get through being a state employee. And so I'd heard from a friend in Florida, actually. Her and her fiance are registered as domestic partnerships, and through that, they're able to be on the same health insurance plan through one of their employers. And I was kind of surprised when I inquired through our Human Resources Division whether or not that was a possibility. Like I said, I was surprised to find out that it wasn't, and I was even more shocked through some of this research to find out that there's actually a statute that already exists in Maryland in the insurance article that says that every provider, every health insurance provider in Maryland, if you provide family plans for health insurance, you have to also provide it to domestic partnerships. The Maryland State Employee Division is exempt from that requirement. So right now in Maryland, in our insurance article, it says that if an insurance provider is providing benefits through, family plans, through marriage plans, to even children of, other dependents of a spouse, you have to also provide those to domestic partnerships, but the Maryland Employee System plan is exempt. So that's pretty much the bill in a nutshell. I'm happy to take any questions while I'm here.
Thanks for your testimony. Any questions? Okay, I don't see any. Thanks for being with us.
Great.
Have a
Thank you
great
so
day.
much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Senator Jackson, I still see you with us. Are you here for the Prince George's bills?
I have Prince George's as well as Calvert County, sir.
Okay, come on up. We'll finish you out. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. The Prince George's bill is 833.
Sure.
We're going to take the Prince George's before the Calvert bill.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, members of the Appropriations Committee, Senator Michael Jackson on behalf of the Prince George's County delegation, on behalf of Senate Bill 833. Senate Bill 833 is a very straightforward bill that simply allows the governor to appropriate $1 million in fiscal years 2025 through 2028 to Prince George's County to provide funds for Prince George's County Violence Interrupter Support Program Fund. This passed the committee and full Senate without opposition. It's a simple piece of legislation that helps to ensure success of this important program. For those who don't know, the program engages numerous innovative and essential techniques in an effort to reduce incidents of violence in Prince George's County. These techniques include providing essential services, wraparound services, providing case management, supporting provisions of STEAM to educate our young folks, engaging workforce training, providing recovery transitional housing, and others. As someone who served professionally in the public safety field, finding a means to prevent violent activity is critically important. The funding of the program means that is a short means to an end and something that we can add to our toolbox. We're asking for a favorable report, and the panelists here can go into more detail, and we'll stay for questions as needed. Thank you.
My name is Jalen Wilson.
I'm Tiffany Evans.
Reverend Cosette Thomas. Okay. Sure. Hello, Chair and members of the committee. As we all know, gun violence is a pervasive public health issue. In Prince George's County, per the Prince George's County Police Department, as of 2022, 739 gun-related crimes have occurred, including homicides, carjackings, and contact and non-contact shootings. Dreams Work Hope in Action Anti-Gun Violence Project aggressively addresses this issue holistically with a three-pronged approach. That's through Violence Interrupters, the Hope Collective, which is comprised of 24 nonprofits, including hospital-based intervention, and a task force, which is our research arm. Hope in Action Violence Interrupters work collaboratively with schools, youth groups, and community organizations to develop relationships with residents who are at high risk of being involved in gun violence. This is so that they can detect and mediate conflicts, prevent shootings, and improve community safety. Our violence interrupters build intimate relationships with community members that are victims and perpetuators of gun violence to prevent and reduce incidents of gun violence. Our violence interrupters employ the resources of the Hope Collective, which include hospital intervention, mental health resources, adult and youth reentry services, after-school programming, workforce development, and wraparound services to include marginalized and low-income residents, which we all know are factors and promote gun violence. To date, Prince George's County Violence Interrupters have impacted over 6,000 county residents. The Hope Collective, over 25,000. Collectively, all three tiers of the Dreams Work Hope in Action Anti-Gun Violence Project has positively affected over 35,000 at-risk Prince George's County residents. Given more resources and opportunity to continue this work, gun violence will continue to decrease. We're asking for a favorable report. Thank you.
I want to, first off, thank you, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, and members of this committee. My name is Tiffany Evans, and I am the mother of the late, great Peyton P.J. Evans. On August 24th, 2021, at 8:21 p.m., my life was changed for the worse. My 8-year-old son was shot and killed to senseless gun violence in Landover, Maryland, while eating tacos and playing the game. Thanks to the staff of Hope in Action, other mothers and myself have been supported throughout the whole process of joining this unofficial club of burying your child. My son was not only known for his athletic abilities in football in Prince George's County, Maryland, but he was also a community advocate who enjoyed giving back to the less fortunate and seniors. In honor of PJ and other children who have lost their lives to gun violence, passing Senate Bill 833 will help fight the issues that lie in our community. Please give us a favorable support to this bill so we can help make the future bright, because every child deserves a future. Long live PJ.
Foundation is the key to any organization. This bill will help forge a foundation in our community that started a decade ago between Team Gov, DreamsWorks, and Community of Hope AME Church, and as well as Prince George's County organizations. Our foundation was able to provide limited resources to our community during the global pandemic, giving 300,000 boxes of food, over 100,000 masks for those in need, and as well as donated 25,000 rolls of toilet tissue to PG County to give to senior citizens when tissue was not available. The foundation has grown with the partnership between Prince George's County Police Chief and our county executive with Violence Interrupters that create the Hope in Action Project. Under the Hope in Action, we created the Hope Collective. This is a group of over 20 organizations that support Prince George's County residents in areas not limited to mental health, reentry programs, and job partnership programs. There are some organizations that I would like to highlight, starting with One Love Life Center. It's an art therapy program located in PG County and used to improve cognitive and sensory motor functions, foster self-esteem and self-awareness, cultivate emotional resilience, promote insight, enhance social skills. The goal is to use medium of art to create therapeutic relationships between therapists and young people, which allows youth to deal with trauma or other negative experiences by providing an alternative way to express negative feelings, insecurities, and vulnerabilities rather than acting out in destructive ways. We hope for a favorable report, and thank you, Vice Chair and the members of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, and we will stand for questions if you have any.
Great, thank you very much. And to the gentlelady who just provided testimony, may I have your name?
Your name again.
Jalen Wilson.
Jane Wilson. Wonderful. And there's there Tiffany Evans?
Yes, right here.
Okay, great. And then Costello Wilson? Okay,
He's not here.
great. Just want to make sure we had all the witnesses that were presented. Are there any questions for the bill sponsor or the witnesses before us? Thank you very much. We also have Patrick Galler with the Prince George's County Executive's Office. Want to come up and provide some testimony in 2 minutes? Thank you.
Yes, I'm Patrick Galler from the Prince George's County Executive's Office. I don't need to belabor the point. We just want to add that we are requesting an amendment. The bill as originally introduced made the funding mandatory, not discretionary. We just asked the committee to amend the bill to make the funding mandatory again. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Are there any questions for Mr. Galler? Thank you. That ends the bill hearing for Senate Bill 833. The committee will now move on to Senate Bill 467, Calvert County Center's Work Group to Study Fiscal and Operational Viability of Public-Private Partnerships for Calvert County Public Schools. Senator Jackson?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman and members of the committee. For the record, Senator Michael Jackson on behalf of Senate Bill 467. This is a local bill for Calvert County senators. We support this particular bill. As you all know, I represent 3 counties, Southern Prince George's, Northeastern Charles, and pretty much most of Calvert counties. And I will tell you that this bill will make me increasingly even more proud of the service that we provided. This committee knows in 2019 we embarked upon the first P3 project in the state of Maryland for Prince George's County. And it has worked terrific for us. We are approaching 10 schools, 10 brand new schools in our community, and multiple renovations activities. Last year, we were able to engage this process for the Charles County public school system. And this year, Calvert County has selected to be a part of this program. Senate Bill 467 creates a work group to study the fiscal and operational feasibility of using public-private partnerships as a means of funding the construction, renovations, and maintenance of schools in Calvert County. The legislation passed through the committee and the full Senate without opposition. We'd like to ask for a favorable report, and the committee, in your packet, you will have, it shows the list of the work group members. It shows the list of tasks for the work group. Again, this is a proven piece of legislation. This is a piece of legislation, that has been proven in 2 counties thus far. We're asking for a favorable report. I will stand for any questions.
Senator Jackson, are there any questions from the committee for Senator Jackson on this bill? Thank you very much, Senator, for being here. That concludes the bill hearing for
Thank you all very much. Always great to be in appropriations.
Great seeing you.
Bye-bye.
Next, the committee will move on to Senate Bill 167, Senator Elfreth, Maryland State Arts Council funding. Senator Elfreth?
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the committee. Sarah Elfreth, representing District 30, here to present Senate Bill 167. This is a cleanup bill. It's a clarification bill. Folks who have Department of Commerce's budget in your subcommittee will remember that almost every year we have a fight over how to calculate funding for the Maryland State Arts Council, which we all know and love. Under previous DBMs, there's been a disagreement about how to calculate the base. So what this bill does, it just clarifies from here on out so that future legislatures will not have any confusion or future fights with DBM. Just to be clear, the B&T committee felt that the A&A amusement and A&A tax, everybody knows what that is. An admissions tax, the million that goes into the base, that should be used to calculate the multiplier, but not create $1 million new base moving forward. So this way, this is a sustainable way of still ensuring an increase because the multiplier is tied to the growth of the general fund without, frankly, getting too far out of hand for our general fund growth. So with that, Mr. Chair, I hope to save future General Assemblies a lot of headache and heartache over the calculation for this incredible program and request a favorable report.
Thank you very much, Senator Elfreth. Are there any questions for Senator Elfreth on this bill? Thank you very much. That concludes the bill hearing for Senate Bill 167. The committee will now move on to Senate Bill 501, Senator Washington, Libraries Aging Infrastructure Improvement Grant Program established. Senator Washington?
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's good to see you, colleagues, 2 days in a row. For the record, Senator Mary Washington, honored to present Senate Bill 501. The bill addresses and creates, rather, a aging infrastructure capital improvement grant program. The bill will allow our local libraries to gain digital skills, access some new technologies, pursue vocational and educational programs. Rather, our library patrons do that. There is no House crossfile, but the committee is really well aware of the policy and budget concerns that this bill addresses. Libraries function much like our education system. They are driven primarily through local branches. The local rules and funding can vary from county to county. And each municipality views and uses its library system slightly differently. However, there is a shared mission to help the community they serve. Their mission was really highlighted more strongly and more importantly during COVID. And our schools closed down. And our students needed access to Wi-Fi. Also, even before that, this is where people go to have their resumes looked at, where they go to search for jobs, where if they don't own a computer or have Wi-Fi, they use that. So libraries have been a perfect partner to our schools. And when our students aren't at school, if you were a nerdy kid like me, you went to the library to hang out, and they still do. I actually am starting to see some cool kids doing that as well these days, but they go there to learn and relax and socialize. So not only are they partners in education, they share a lot of the same operational and infrastructure challenges that our public school systems have, and that this body sought to address very aggressively about 10 years ago when we started to make significant large investments in our public schools. We have 24 public library systems, and in those systems, there are a great number of needs. I know the committee was provided a assessment that was conducted of our public library systems, and you found that 19 of them need new roofs, 24 need HVAC systems, 37 require significant digital upgrades, 55 need renovations that are estimated, just renovations, that are estimated over $89 million, and $15 billion should just be knocked down and built again. So more than half of the libraries in our counties, of the 190 libraries in our counties, are over 25 years old. The Enoch Pratt Library, the state's data center, is one of the oldest systems in the country, and it has 22 branches, and 19 of those branches are more than 50 years old, and 6 are over a century old. So the consequences of this aging infrastructure is a loss of services and an estimated cost of projects of $424.38 million. Now, the General Assembly did establish a grant program in 2008, and in 2014, there was implemented a wealth-sensitive funding model for operations, and then last year, we adjusted the state share so that Garrett County could now be at the same level as Allegheny County. However, when it comes to the capital side, we have a program that was originally funded at $5 million. We increased it to $7.5 million. However, based on the needs, it will take more than 25 years to bring our library system to a basic level. So SB 501 will provide funds for our county systems to address their needs. And the proposal is to do a $50 million matching grant just for 4 years to double down. It requires a 10% grant, and to focus on those big projects that all of our our counties and our systems need. But there will be a prioritization in the bill. We recommend a prioritization where rural and digital underserved areas are being addressed. Just recently, Garrett County's Ruth Enloe Library was recommended for the very first time to get a grant. There are many, many more libraries that need the kind of support. We just don't have the resources there. The age and condition of the building. We also need many of our libraries do not comply with the American Federal Disability Act. And then just, again, general renovation. So that's what this is about, thinking about that decision we made, looking at our school infrastructures, understanding that they in order for them to provide the educational goal for our state, that we needed to support the local investment in a significant way. We need to do the same thing with our libraries. I ask for and urge for your favorable report on this important bill that all of your counties love, and I look forward to answering any questions you might have.
Thank you very much, Senator Washington. We have a question from Delegate Acevedo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good to see you, Senator.
Good to see you.
So if someone wishes to go back and get a GED or some sort of a pre-tertiary diploma, that's something that I would say most, if not all, public libraries offer, correct?
Well, the library, we have, as a legislature, given our library system the mission of being partners and suppliers of workforce development. However, not all of our libraries have the infrastructure to do it, right? So if you live in a county or an area where you're able to invest more in digital access, but a lot of our libraries don't have it. They're still using very, very old systems, or half the time, you know, some of them, they have classes for adults and the HVAC system isn't working, they shut down, or they shut down for a whole month, or if there's too much snow and it's leaking. So the thing is, their mission is not matched. Well, the state's funding is not currently providing them with what they need to meet the goal. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had more of a statement that I think there are a lot of fellow nerds who spend a lot of time in libraries in this body. Thank you for highlighting and working for our libraries.
Thank you. Thank you.
Isn't that so?
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions from members of the committee for Senator Washington on Senate Bill 501? Thank you very much. That concludes the bill hearing for Senate Bill 501. The committee will now move on to Senate Bill 527, Senator Waldstreicher, Fire, Rescue, and Emergency Medical Services Entities Peer Support Program. Senator Waldstreicher, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair. Last year, this chamber passed House Bill 581 unanimously. It provides peer support counseling for our hero firefighters. We meant counseling in the colloquial way with a lowercase c, but it is being interpreted by the agency as meaning counseling with a capital C, meaning the licensed profession. And so this bill is a technical fix to remove the word counseling so as not to impact the licensed profession and instead just say peer support. There is no cross-file to this bill, so you're hearing it here for the first time, and I would ask for a favorable report on Senate Bill 527, please.
Thank you very much, Senator Waldstreicher. Are there any questions from members of the committee? Delegate Shetty.
We were just kidding. He's our senator.
Yeah, we've got 2/3 of the district, 3/4 of the District 18 team here in this room.
That's correct.
That's wonderful.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you very much, Delegate Shetty. Are there any other questions for Senator Waldstreicher on this? Okay, great. Thank you. Did you want to say anything? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Mr.
so
Vice
much.
Chair. Thank you,
That
members.
concludes the bill hearing for Senate Bill 527. The committee will now move on to Senate Bill 442, Senator Quarterman, the Economic Development, Sports, Entertainment Facilities, Financing, and Construction.
All right, 2 days in a row. Good to see you guys again. Vice Chair, members of the committee, for the record, Senator Paul Quarterman, District 2 in Washington County. Thank you today for the opportunity to present Senate Bill 442, Sports Entertainment Facilities, Finance and Construction. So last year, this committee passed unanimously House Bill 897. That provided funding to our minor league facilities throughout the state, i.e. our Fredericks, our Bowies, Aberdeen, Delmarva, Arbor, et cetera. However, the Hagerstown multi-use sports entertainment facility, which is currently under construction, was unintentionally and inadvertently left out of that legislation. So this is essentially a cleanup, kind of a technical thing that would simply provide a change that allows this facility to participate in the same manner as all the other like facilities across the state, as was the original intent with that legislation. Additionally, it increases the potential available funding to be increased from $200 million to $220 million to address inflationary pressures that many projects have seen across the state. It's important to note, though, that the revenue source that supports the debt service does not need to be changed, as the limit set forth in last year's legislation supports these changes. So in essence, there's no additional fiscal impact to the state. You'll find a letter of support from the Maryland Stadium Authority. And again, we thank you for your consideration and request a favorable report.
Thank you very much, Senator Quarterman. Are there any questions for Senator Quarterman on Senate Bill 442 from the committee? Thank you very much, Senator Quarterman. That concludes the bill hearing for Senate Bill 442. The committee will now move on to Senate Bill 426. And we have a designee for Senator King, and it's for the University System of Maryland Board of Regents quasi-endowment funds. We also have a panel. Thank you very much for being here.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Patty Horton for Senator King. Senate Bill 426 will authorize USM's Board of Regents to transfer no more than $150 million from fund balances held by the treasurer to establish a quasi-endowment which will be used to fund investments in need-based financial aid. This fund will target those students who are just above Pell Grant financial ceilings, making them ineligible for the Pell federal grants. The General Assembly has authorized USM to create two other quasi-endowments in 2013 and 2017, and both have been very successful in generating funds for their intended purposes. This endowment will be another tool in USM's toolbox to meet the important goals of access and affordability at our schools. And so on behalf of Senator King, I respectfully request a favorable report on Senate Bill 426. And Mr. Vice Chair, Budget and Tax Committee Council found a technical error in the bill, and we have forwarded an amendment to your council to correct that.
Great. Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. For the record, Patrick Hogan with the University System of Maryland, here in support of Senate Bill 426. The USM and our institutions want to make higher education accessible and affordable for lower-income students, and we want to try to help them graduate without debt. We have prioritized financial aid in our budgets, and we are very thankful to this committee and the General Assembly for increased state funding for financial aid over the last few years. With this bill, we intend to do even more. We want to invest our money for the purposes of dedicating the income to additional financial aid for lower-income students. And so we ask for a favorable report on SB 426. For more information, we have USM's Associate Vice Chancellor for Financial Affairs, Celeste Denson, who can answer questions and provide a little bit more information.
Thank you.
We have two bills left. We have Senate Bill 707, which is Public Safety Deputy Fire, State Fire Marshal Probationary Status Information. The departmental bill.
Hi, good afternoon, sir. Chairman Barnes, members of the Appropriations Committee, I am Jason Mowbray, Chief Deputy State Fire Marshal. I'm currently assigned to our agency's headquarters, where I'm responsible for the oversight and daily operation and administration of the State Fire Marshal's office. Today, it is my pleasure to offer verbal testimony to this committee in support of Senate Bill 707, Public Safety, Deputy State Fire Marshal Probationary Status and Promotion. This legislation seeks to include Deputy State Fire Marshals as police employees relating to the 2-year probationary period and how promotion of these employees is handled. Under current law, police employees are hired under a 2-year probationary period. Deputy State Fire Marshals are police employees. However, our Assistant Attorney General has interpreted this provision to mean the law does not apply to deputy state fire marshals. The goal of Senate Bill 707 is to clarify that police employees also include deputy state fire marshals for the purposes of probation and promotion. Deputy state fire marshals are required to complete an average of 6 months of basic police training to meet the minimum requirements of the Maryland Police Correctional Training Commission. Upon successful completion of this basic training, the police employee is then required to complete a field training program to meet the minimum requirements of the Training Commission. This field training program is approximately 600 hours over 15 weeks. After completion of basic and field training, deputy state fire marshals are then assigned to mandatory core technical training programs to be able to function as fire investigators or bomb technicians. The minimum training course for fire investigations is 2 weeks, and if applicable, bomb technician training is 6 weeks. Both programs can take 12 to 18 months to be placed in the training class. The time to complete this training far exceeds the 6-month probationary provisions for civilian employees. Due to the extensive time for training an employee appointed as a deputy state fire marshal, a 6-month probationary period is not practical. It allows no time for thoughtful evaluation of a new employee or to provide a period for remedial training if required. This 2-year probationary period would ensure adequate time for evaluation and determination of the completion of basic field and technical core training to perform the job functions of a police employee appointed to the office of the state fire marshal. This 2-year probationary period is consistent with police employees within the department and existing agency policy and practices. The only other option is a 6-month probationary period for civilian employees within the department as provided by Maryland Personnel and Pensions Section 7402. After completing this training and probationary period, police employees advance in rank. This promotion provides additional responsibilities to the employee and grants independent decision-making. Deputy state fire marshals make a sharp increase in responsibilities upon promotion to supervisory and management ranks. Currently, these employees are subject to a civilian increase restriction, resulting in the employee losing steps at a reduced salary increase. This restriction creates a disparity between the new promotion and the increase in responsibility and decision-making. The promotional increase is not commensurate with the expected duties of the employee. At times, employees decline promotional opportunities due to the predicted gap between responsibilities and wage increases. Currently, within the Department of State Police, police employees who are promoted to a higher rank are entitled to the pay specified for the new rank at the same step they currently occupy. This legislation seeks to codify the existing practice of how promotions are handled for police employees to include deputy state fire marshals. The department has discussed this proposed legislation with SLEOLA, the bargaining unit which represents the affected police employees. SLEOLA has advised the department that they do not oppose the provisions of this legislation. The Office of the State Fire Marshal urges the committee to give Senate Bill 707 a favorable report. I will now answer any questions you may have for me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mowbray, for your testimony. Are there any questions from members of the committee for Mr. Mowbray on Senate Bill 707? Thank you very much. Have a great day. That concludes the bill hearing for Senate Bill 707. The committee will now move on to the last bill of today. It's Senate Bill 722. It's a departmental bill, State Department of Assessment and Taxation's mandatory retirement age repeal. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the committee. My name is Michael Higgs. I am the Director of the Maryland State Department of Assessments and Taxation. SSTAT would strongly support Senate Bill 722. This departmental legislative proposal would permit the department to retain talent regardless of the employee's age. The department views this legislation as paramount to its mission of retaining a diverse field of employees and believes that employees should not be terminated simply because of their age. For these reasons, SSTAT strongly urges a favorable vote on Senate Bill 722. Thank you.
Seeing none, that concludes the bill hearing for Senate Bill 722. Thank you, Mr. Higgs, for being here. And that concludes the bill hearing for today. On behalf of Chairman Ben Barnes of the House Appropriations Committee, thank you everyone for being part of today's bill hearing.